Hi Fox, how you doing? The Zurich 2014 chess tournament has already started, although today they only played the Blitz games. Funny way to start the games, just to draw the colors for the classical, the strong, the say normal and serious tournament. But still, we had very interesting and really nice games today. And well, the one I'm going to show you now is probably one of the most expected. We see Carlsen and Anand playing one against each other for the first time after the World Championship match, in which the Norwegian genius won the World Championship title. So, well, I hope I'm wrong, but I think Anand, as we will see in the game, has still some psychological problems from that World Championship match. He hasn't, I guess, he hasn't gone over that match at all, because here he plays really couple of bad moves. Probably, well, this is still a Blitz play. You just can't be very tough with them, but still, it seems he gets under a very violent attack, and this game ends rather quickly. I mean, even though it was a Blitz in 21 moves, Carlsen with white just crushes Anand. So let us see the game. Knight f3. Carlsen is white, as I said. Anand is black. d5. We saw this couple of moves in lots of games from that World Championship match. In case you missed that World Championship match in Chennai, here you got the links for complete commentary, complete analysis of all the games from that match. And now, well, Carlsen plays hypermodern, deviates. He didn't play this in the World Championship match in Chennai. Plays b3, but you know, Carlsen doesn't have problems playing any opening. You know that. c5, and here the very uncommon and very surprising, strange-looking move, e4. Now, I mean, in my database there are only 15 games with this move, and all of them played by players below, say, 2300, so not GMs at all. And well, I don't know. I suggested to call this the Magnus attack or the Carlsen opening or something, because seems, well, objectively speaking, this can't be the best move for white, but in a Blitz game, in a psychological way of thinking, this is a very cool move, very interesting move. White is going to play kind of a Budapest gambit with reversed colors, and really is going to develop fastly. So let us see what Anand did. He took, well, it seems to be the most principled move. Now knight g5 is the move. You're threatening to recapture, say, and have central control there. Knight f6, knight c3 to recapture the pawn. The problem with bishop b2, which could seem a more very natural move as well, is that black protects the pawn on e4 very well with bishop f5. And now if bishop c4 attacking f7, of course e6, and this really looks good for black. I mean, still playable, but probably white has to give up the pawn with f3, and just, well, bishop e7, castle, and play with the pawn down. Still, he has little compensation maybe with this open file for the rook with the bishop pair targeting kingside, but not sure if that's enough to have an advantage. So knight c3 very correctly played here. Knight c6, bishop c4, of course attacking f7, so e6. Now bishop b2, bishop e7, castle. So far nothing strange. Well, I mean, you got this Carlsen opening, but both players have developed more or less normally. And now Carlsen gets his pawn back. Knight takes on e4, knight takes. And here Anand plays a move which seems to be, well, it appears to be not that great, because it gives white a clear target to start developing lots of initiative in the king side. Now the pawn is protected on e5. He plays pawn from e6 to e5, but as I said, this is giving white lots of activity in the king side with the move f4, opening lines. Maybe, I don't know, a simple move like bishop d7, just trying to develop complete development and just sit and wait, see what happens. So it appears to be better, but okay. This is a Blitz move, so still you can say You can't be that tough with these players here. E5 and of course F4. This is a very interesting move. Engines here suggest not to take. This is what happened in the game. Engine suggests an interesting move, creating counterplay, at least trying to, on the queen side, rook b8 to play b5 and chase that bishop from that excellent square he is in c4. Now a4 would be the move to just avoid it. A6, and well, this, I mean, black at least has deviated attention from the king side and he's trying to create something on the queen side. Instead, after rook b8, if for instance white takes, now b5, and I mean bishop d3, the knight now goes to d4, blocking the bishop on b2. Still the queen can go there, g6. The white still probably has some chances to attack, to mess it up, but so far, for the time being at least, this couple of bishops on b2 and d3 seems to be blocked, and not that dangerous as in the positions will arise in the game. So Anand took on f4, and now queen h5. Lots of threats there on the king side. I mean, all white pieces that are there targeting this looks scary. In fact, instead, if rook takes f4, now, I mean, it's of course in a blitz game it's difficult to play all the correct moves according to engines, but you just have to play good moves and not blunder and not fall up too behind on time. So rook takes f4, it seems, was a little better. Now b5, bishop takes b5. Black is sacrificing a pawn to create a little more, I mean, to stop white from having too many initiative. So now knight d4, hitting the bishop, bishop c4, bishop e6, offering an exchange, and white has to take with the knight. Rook f2, and well, white must be better. He's up a pawn, but he has lost some attacking possibilities, some initiative. That bishop on c4 was a good piece. He hasn't got bishop pair anymore, so black must be a little more relieved here, but still white is up a pawn, and black must be very careful yet. Instead, queen h5 was played, and now knight d4 doesn't seem to be a great move. Well, of course, most of us mortals wouldn't take advantage of this move, but someone of caliber of Magnus Carlsen will do it very quickly. Bishop e6 is suggested to be better. Now takes, queen g4, threatening checkmate. Knight d4 blocking c3, knight f5, and knight takes f4, and an interesting move here, c4, and black is blocking that bishop on b2 for a long time. Interesting position yet. But after knight d4, rook takes f4, and well, now this really looks scary. All white pieces are piling up against this black king. g6 was played here, and once again it seems bishop e6 was more accurate, more correct, but now still this is very dangerous for black. This was leading to very messy lines. Knight takes c5, for instance. And now it was correct to take on c4 first, as it follows. Well, I mean, if bishop takes c5, white will probably... No, sorry. White will probably take here, and I mean, what's the problem? So, taking here first was correct. And here, interesting enough, some little intermediate moves. Rook takes d4, attacking the queen is the correct move, because if b takes c4, now bishop takes c5, and suddenly black is winning. So rook takes d4, another interesting intermediate, bishop e2, queen is attacked, queen e5 must be played, like some potential attacks here on the dark diagonal. Otherwise, if queen takes e2, bishop takes c5, and black is going to take this rook. It is pinned, so it was better to get away with the queen to e5. Now bishop takes c5, the rook is pinned, and lots of threat, lots of craziness going on here. Well, white can take the bishop on c5 so far, and once again he's raised a pawn up when the dust settles. Still has a nice game ahead with decent chances of winning this, but probably not that bad for black. I mean, not losing on the spot as we're going to see Anand in the game. And well, he played g6 instead of this bishop e6. He went on with g6, and now queen e5. Now this diagonal is a hell of a threat for black. b6 was played here. I mean, not really sure what he was hoping or for here. Rook a f1, and all white pieces are attacking. This is incredibly strong. This must be already done for white. In fact, we'll see that this is going to be This isn't going to be lasting for much more. Bishop f5, and now g4. Interesting move. It was even more interesting maybe to sacrifice on f5, but with so little time, a couple of minutes, no more on the clock, so it's difficult to calculate all this in a blitz game. So rook takes f5 was cool. G takes, and now rook takes f5. Rook c8 is the best move here. Of course, you don't want to get checkmated in one move, so you don't take on f5. So rook c8, and now knight g5. Interesting move. The knight going to do some damage there, attacking f7. Of course, taking here would lead to rook takes, and to avoid checkmate, black must give up his queen, so not very funny. Instead, queen c7 is suggested to try to exchange queens, and an intermediate move by white, rook takes f7. And if queen takes e5, well, of course, if rook takes f7, now this is checkmate. Bishop takes f7, queen h8 checkmate. So lots of threats, as you can see, against the black king. I mean, having all these pieces against your king can't be good, or never can be good. So queen takes e5 was, after this rook takes f7, was the principal move. But still, this is winning for white. This is a nice move here. Rook takes e7 check, discovered check, and after queen e6, it seems black has to give up the bishop, the queen. I mean, he's going to take it back. The other alternative is king h8, which is leading to checkmate once again. So queen e6, bishop takes check, knight takes e6, and now another interesting move, knight takes h7. White is hitting the rook on f8, the knight on e6, and he's going to win just too much material, so this is crushing for white. So this rook takes f5 was an interesting, very cool alternative. It's a pity Magnus didn't play it. He played g4, which is still very strong. Bishop e6, and now this is all over. I mean, this is forcing. This is forced win for white in a couple of moves. Bishop takes, f takes, rook takes f8, check. Bishop takes f8. I mean, if you give up your queen, taking with the queen, you're not expecting that much. Bishop takes f8, and now knight f6 checked. King h8. It seems it was better to go to king f8, but now exposing to those discovered check doesn't seem to be very pretty. King h8, and now c3. Certainly good move, but Magnus didn't realize at once that he had a forced checkmate with queen knight e8 check. Only move, king g8, queen h8 check, and a pretty checkmate here. King must take, rook takes checkmate. The knight does a great job covering g7 there. So he first played c3. I mean, black played, Anand played knight c6. Now Carlsen realizes he has a checkmate, knight e8 check, a discovered check, and of course Anand sees it a duel, so he resigned the game. So only 21 moves, a very, very fast blitz game, in which Magnus Carlsen completely destroys the Indian GM. And well, once again, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm wrong, but it seems Anand is still recovering from that World Championship match. And well, let us see what happens in the classical tournament. But this was a completely crushing victory for Magnus Carlsen. Thanks for watching.